All right, so this is telling me that I am live now, so I'm going to wait till a couple of people start showing up. Hopefully they do. I've had the last couple of weeks of being really, really rough trying to get this stuff to work together, and it really wasn't working. So, see if anybody joins us. If I'm not seeing you, I'm sorry, but for those that don't know, I'm only live for half an hour. There we go. We have Joe Fixit. Hey, Joe. Mr. and Mrs. Folder Job Jr. Hello. Is everything sounding okay and looking okay? Because I really had a rough time for the last 2 weeks trying to get this thing to work because it's been terrible. Hey, Lindy Oki, how you doing? Let me know if you guys can hear me and see me properly or whatever because this has been crazy for the last 2 weeks. I don't know what it is with YouTube and StreamYard, but it has been terrible. I have been fighting and fighting and fighting to make it work. Hey, Dot Roper, how you doing? All right, good. You can see me. You can hear me. Awesome. Hey, Simply Jan. All right, guys. So last week we kind of talked about my seed business and whatnot, but we didn't really get too much involved with the print shop. The print shop started because I got injured. Well, actually, before I got injured, I had the seed business going, and then 2021 when COVID hit, and we could only have so many people in the seed house. I decided I wasn't going to be part of it. I needed to get out of it, and I walked away from it. And I put my girlfriend in charge and said, "Hey, you are now the seed house manager. I'm going to go do something different." So I started a print shop. Why? Well, because I was watching a guy out of Canada who runs a company called Rogue Labs, and he told me that I should start printing my own boxes to promote my business in the mail. I didn't think it was that important, but I was like, okay, well, I can print boxes. Show me what I need. So I went out and I bought a four screen print and press. Actually, no, I didn't. I started out with a one screen print and press, and I could print my own boxes. I could put whatever needed to be on those boxes and just send them out, and life goes on. And of course, being a seed business, we're green and brown for our logo. And I was like, well, just put green print on a brown box, and that's the same thing pretty much. So I started doing that. And then I went out and I bought a four press because the 4-on-1 press seemed to be the better option of being able to adjust the screens and do what needed to be done. And it really wasn't. It was terrible. It was probably one of the worst screen printing presses that money could buy. It wasn't very expensive. I think I bought it on Amazon. And then I started watching other people had the same press, and they said, "Well, but if you go in and you make this change and you make this change and you do this and you do that, you can make that press work." And I'm like, "All right." Well, the first thing that required was I had to go out and buy a welder because you have to weld a piece of metal to the screen press in order to be able to adjust your screens. And of course, that brings in another part where, okay, well, now you got to put bolts on the back of this thing. So you got to have a grinder. Well, if you're going to weld, you got to have a grinder anyway. So I bought a grinder. And thankfully, I have a really good employee, Jimmy, my main guy. He does everything for me that I want him to do, and it doesn't matter what it is. He is a tradesman. I put him on quite a few jobs that I didn't think were even possible. One of them was my lawn sweeper got wiped out by the guy that plows my driveway in the wintertime. And he went in and he made it look like it was brand new again. And I was like, wow, dude, you welded that together really well. And he's like, yeah, he says, I haven't done this shit in years, but I'm pretty good at it once I get warmed back up again. And I was like, good. Now that you got that, I've got another job for you. And we brought the press out, and I showed him what I wanted to have welded onto it and stuff, going by the directions I was watching online. And he actually did it. He did a very good job at it. And we drilled off the back of the press. We put bolts in the back with nuts welded to the frame so you could adjust the screens, because that was one of the big issues. You couldn't adjust the frames, and you couldn't lock the frames down because it's just two knobs. And the more you turn the knobs, the more it changed the direction of the screen. So those knobs had to be like connected to a piece of metal plate. Well, they weren't made to be that way, so we had to weld metal plates onto the screw knobs going down because they're just like a big round washer basically. And you can't weld the washer to the nut because it has to spin, but you could weld the plate to the bottom of the washer, and then you could tighten it down and you could make it what you wanted it to be, and then you use the nuts or the bolts on the back and be able to adjust it left and right to be able to get it centered to where you wanted it, and then you could change the height and stuff based on how you were doing it. The rule of screen printing is that you need to have between the screen and the piece that you're printing on a quarter, you know, a 1/4 of a dollar between the screen frame and what you're going to be printing on. So the screen pushes down, it pushes the ink through it, and then it lifts it back up. And I was like, all right, that's cool. Let's do it. And so we put it together. We got it all put together. We got it mounted back on the table it was mounted on, because that one's heavy and you have to mount it, because if you don't mount it, that thing is like all over the place. Hey, Paul Honeyman, how you doing, buddy? Glad to see you made it. So we did that, and we got it working. Not great. I mean, it's a cheap press. This thing's only like, I don't know, $149 probably. And I bought all the ink, and I bought into the program where you can make any color ink you want to make, and it's expensive. It was like $1,000. So I bought into it. I bought all the stuff. I've got like 2 different card catalogs that are about 2 inches thick, where it tells you what you need for ink to make it work. Hey, Mike, glad to see you can join me. It tells you every bit of color you need to make these colors work to make it out to be uniform for what that color was supposed to be. And there's 2 sets. There's one set that is one uniform, and there's another one that's a different one. I don't know why that was, but there is. So I went through, hey, Joe. So I went through and I fixed it out, and I got all that stuff set up, and it probably wasn't, I think I printed maybe 150 boxes. And my buddy from Rogue Lab said, all right, Dave, now that you're set up to be able to print boxes, you do know you can use the same equipment to print shirts. All right, well, I'm set up with a four color screen press. Well, that would be awesome. No. I'll be honest with you. If you don't have the money to get invested in screen printing, don't do it. I wasted so much. It's not even funny. I mean, between buying the ink, I've got probably 150 different colors of ink. I've got a special mixing system set up to be able to mix up that ink. I've got special squeegees to spread that ink. And I printed probably 30 t-shirts. And I decided that is not what I want to do. It is not what I want to do. Every time you print something, you burn a screen. And when you burn a screen, well, if you're going to print it again, you save the screen. Well, those screens are not cheap. They're actually very expensive. And I probably have in the neighborhood right now of about, I don't know, 70 screens. Some of them were saved for customers that I was working for that were going to want more, and I decided I just wasn't going to do it for them anymore because it made no sense. Some of them have designs on them that no longer will wash out because they've been left on the screens for too long. And that's when I got into learning about sublimation printing, and that's a special printer, that's a special heat process. Everything is special about sublimation. But what I was doing was water-based ink, so you had to have a heat press anyway, because you take the shirt off the press, you let it air dry, you put it on a heat press, you set the ink, and there you go, you're done. So I already had the press, but I didn't have the special printers. And the special printers have to, hey, White Rock, how you doing? The special printers have to be an Epson EcoTank because you can't use the ink that comes with the printer. You have to have a special ink that's made for sublimation printing. And what I found was that Hiipoo ink, Hiipoo, was probably the cheapest one I could get. I played with it, I learned it, and I fell in love with it, and that's what I used. Well, I started out with a Epson EcoTank printer that could print 8.5 by 11 sheets. That's typical size. I mean, if you're going to do a front of a T-shirt with a picture on it or whatever, that's a good size to play with. But my problem was I didn't want that. I wanted to be able to do like the back of a shirt. Like something's going on and you got a lot of names and you need room to put them all on the back of the shirt, and 8.5 by 11 ain't going to make it. So I went out and I bought a Epson EcoTank 15,000, which prints 13 by 19 sheets. And I said, all right, that will do what I need to do. The problem is my press is only a 15 by 15 press. Not a bad issue. 15 by 15, I can squeeze a heck of a lot of names into it. So I started doing that. And I was like, okay, what else can I sublimate? Oh, you can sublimate plaques like I did for MT Homestead over there. And also Sandra Mandrano. I printed them plaques for doing the Oklahoma YouTube meetup. I went out and I bought a mug press. I used that to do mugs for MT Homestead again, and also for Dave at Come On Homesteading. I gave each of them 35 mugs each, so I have 70 mugs that I donated to them just to give away. I mean, I don't care. For me, I don't care. When it came time to do the mugs, I had one of my employees, Garrett, here for the day, and I didn't really have any work for him to do. So I said, well, let's go learn how to print mugs. I'm going to teach you. And I brought him up. I spent a day with him. He printed all the mugs. He messed up the very last mug. Fine. I keep one of every one I do anyway. Okay. It was just weird colors. I don't know how that happened, but okay. I kept that one. And then it was like maybe a week later, we're getting really close to have to leave him to take off for Oklahoma. And my other employee, Jim, who's my go-to guy for everything, he came in and he's like, well, what do you want me to do today? And I was like, yeah, you're going to learn how to do mugs. I've got one more case of mugs that has to be done for this. And I printed out the designs. I cut the designs. I showed him how to put them on the mugs. He put them on the mugs. He put them in the press. He ran them. Now, these mugs take time. They're over 4 minutes a mug in the press. So you're talking less than 15 mugs an hour. And we did 35. So it was about 2.5, almost 3 hours working on this. And I just happened to look over and I said, Jim, and he's like, what? And I said, that one over there is upside down. And he's like, what? And I said, it's upside down. I'm reading it face up when you have it upside down on the frontboard. You got to take that one and flip it over, and it's going to be upside down. So, congratulations. You just made me my mug for this batch. So I've got one of each. One's really weird color for Come On Homesteading, and one for MT Homestead that was upside down. But I don't care about upside down. When I tip my cup up, I'm reading it, so it's fine. Not many people read my mug anyway. But that got us into doing, okay, now we're doing T-shirts. It has to be polyester, and the lighter the color, the better the picture shows up. So if it's white, oh, they turn out perfect. I was buying cheap shirts at Walmart for like $4 a piece that were 100% polyester, and I got Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Chuck Schumer, and Nancy Pelosi on there. Says, hey, if we're looking for 4 people that are non-essential employees to lay off, I just found these 4 over here, and that shirt was a takeoff. So then I went out and I bought hats that were able to be sublimated. I did that with bands. Band hats are really, really, really good. Hi, Dot Roper. How you doing? those took off really, really good. And I did their T-shirts for them. I did their hats for them. I did some coffee mugs for them. And now I'm set up to be able to do more things because I've got like, I don't know, $5,000, $6,000 worth of lasers set up here. And my new thing now is I'm going to be doing leather lasers, engraving kind of thing, because I have a campground that we're staying at, which we stayed on 4th of July weekend. I can actually show you the logo. I got it right here beside me. Pull this up so you don't see everything on it, but that logo right there, they have camouflage hats that they would like to have something put on, because right now, as they are, they can't put anything on them because they're camouflaged. And the whole brim of the hat has got lights on it and stuff. And I was like, oh, let me think about this. Let me think about this. So I got hooked up with a leather company. And I said, well, with my big CO2 laser, which is vented outside, because you get into engraving leather, you have to be vented outside. I went and I got the CO2 laser set up, and I ordered everything I need. I have the leather conditioner, which you have to put on after they're done. I have the glue that has to be used to put them onto the hat, and I got the leather, which is, I mean, this box came today. This thing was easily 50 inches long. So I've got a lot of leather, I've got a lot of glue, and a lot of conditioner, and a lot of time to play with this thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take their logo, transfer it to another program to make it so I can do that on the leather and hopefully make it turn out right, and use the laser to cut the leather patch out, and then use leather cement to glue it to a hat. Now, it's not going to be their hat that I glue it to. Actually, the first one I'm going to do is going to be like the hat I've already got in my print shop. Richardson 112, I think they are called, or something like that. They're very expensive hats. If I can glue it to that hat, I can glue it to any hat. So that's my thinking. I'm going to make it work. If I can make the logo work. I mean, I'm taking all these colors and I'm turning it into different shades of brown and the actual color of the leather itself. So there's a lot of settings in there that I don't know what they are, but I'm going to learn them and I'm going to play with it. And I'm going to keep going. I got lots of leather to play with. So that's one of my goals, is to be able to do these hats for them, because they want them done. And they asked me about it, and I was like, I can't print on camouflage. I can take a camouflage hat, I can put it into my $15,000 embroidery machine, and I can put your logo on it. But I have to pay a digitizer to digitize the design, and they don't always come out the way I expect. Actually, I just went out 2 months ago, I think it was. I was watching a new program that was just being introduced for people that do embroidery, and it said, hey, if you got a picture, we can take that picture and we can digitize it to work in your embroidery machine. I told Jimmy, he's sitting right there on that bar stool right there that day, I says, I am going to own this program. I don't care what it costs. I'm going to own this program. Well, it turned out that was almost $1,000 to own that. And hey, Piggy's pedal. That was almost $1,000 to own that program. And I have not done anything with it yet. But do I want to go in and start engraving camouflage hats that have an LED light beam in them? Because I don't know where the wires are. No, I don't. I think a leather patch would be the better answer for those. I think it would look really cool. So that's kind of where I'm going on that one. All right, so now, again, we'll go back. We're getting pretty close to the end of the time here. July 4th weekend. I don't know how many of you guys follow Command Mountain and 41.36, Simple Life Reclaimed, Country Road Cure. God, there's just so many channels that were there. Drifting Dreamers 5. We had Annie Ann there, which is pretty awesome. Possum Run Homestead was there. Ridge Life was there. I don't know about you guys, but for me, I got back home from my camping trip and I have been buried on watching YouTube videos. They got hit with that little bit of a hailstorm. Hey, I feel bad for you guys for that one, but here in upstate New York, we had rain every single day. The day it stopped raining was Tuesday when we came back home. I actually came back home Monday thinking I could mow my lawn, and it started raining the minute I got out of the car. And I said, "That's it, get back in the car, we're going back. Can't mow the lawn, can't stay here." So it's been a long weekend of a whole lot. One thing they told me at the campground was that there is no fireworks or firearms allowed on the premises. And I held by that. I had my fireworks, but I didn't take them with me. I said, "Well, you guys are telling me I can't take them with me, then I'm going to leave them home. We're going to be back Tuesday. Tuesday's the 4th. I can blow them off then. I don't care." And it turned out to be that, that really wasn't true. Sorry, I got a little gnat or something flying around my face. That really wasn't true, because the owners of the campground got together with like 15 people with golf carts, and they were right across the road from where my camp was. They got together. They got this parade set up with all these golf carts and everything, and they set off fireworks before they started their parade. And I'm going, "You guys just did that in front of me and told me I wasn't allowed to have them? I'm coming back tomorrow with mine. This is it." And what I did was, we had two campers that were on our left side that were together. And they actually, like, one of them lives right up the road from my aunt's house in Scott, so that was really cool. And then there was four more down in the other corner where their kids were out there having all kinds of fun with water guns and whatnot. And I went down there and I said, "All right, I'm going to give each one of you guys some fireworks." I give them bottle rockets, I give them firecrackers, and I said, "When it gets dark, as the sun starts going down, you'll know when I say it's time. I'm going to set quite a few of mine off real quick to give you an idea that it's time for you to be able to start setting yours off. We'll all light up our little part of the campground, because they've done it across the road, they've done it up on the hill, and now they did it right across the road from you, pissed me off." So we did it, and I was like, "All right, cool." And I had this 30 battery, I don't even know what they call it. It was called a 30 battery or 30 shot battery. And I told him, I said, "I'm not lighting this off till after dark, because I don't know what it looks like and I want to see it." So it was like 9:15 at night or something like that. It finally got dark enough to be able to look up in the sky and be able to see whatever color lights are up there. I lit this thing on fire. And I'll be honest with you, everybody was freaking out. Unfortunately, it was all the same color, and they all went to the same height, and they all made the same noise, but everybody's going, "Yeah, we got it, yeah, we're good." So that was kind of cool. I still got a lot of bottle rockets. I thought I was going to set some off Tuesday night, but when we got home and I finished mowing my lawn, I was not into staying up late. And I'd already been watching a ton of videos, so that was not happening for me. But yeah, I mean, if you guys don't watch these other channels and stuff, get right in on there. To be honest with you, today, it's been 95 degrees here in central New York. I live in the Seven Valley area. We've been covered in a lot of Canadian smoke for a long time. Today's not so bad because a lot of that rain knocked it down, but the humidity, because of that rain, has been pushing probably 90%. So we've been 95 degrees at 90%. It's been pretty hot. I'm sitting here in shorts, and I don't wear shorts. I can tell you I'm sitting here in the nude, but that would be too funny. But I'm not. I actually do have shorts on. But yeah, I mean, if you guys watch all these other channels and stuff, please go over and check out all of them. You can do the hashtag actually for Come On Homesteading or for Freedom Weekend and see all those. But also, I got to give a shout out to It's All Gravy. Denise just had her birthday party, and I watched those too. And I'll be honest with you, there was pretty good videos. Marcel's got to get a little bit better at setting off fireworks because he left people hanging for an awful long time between batteries, but he did all right, and it was pretty fun. Simply Jan, thanks for hanging out. So it's like I watch all these channels. I mean, I'm friends with Anthony and Roxanne. I'm friends with David. Come on. I'm friends with Tim from Bridge Life. I mean, I can sit down in a lawn chair right beside these guys and have a great conversation with them. Same thing with Mike and Terry from MT Homestead. I had really good conversations with them while we were at the Oklahoma meetup. And a lot of others. Let's Trade Paint. He was there. Sean, him and I, we kind of connected. And he kept coming over to me, and I was like, he's wearing this shirt that said Cold Beer Ranch. And I was like, Cold Beer Ranch? Can I finally meet you? And he says, no, Let's Trade Paint. I'm just wearing his shirt. And I was like, is he here? I got to meet Drew and Lindsay and, Into the Mist and Drew's Lens. Awesome people. Jeff Bobblehead Enterprises. Got to meet him. Of course, I have chickens, so I had to talk to Jeff. I mean, you've got to talk to Jeff. If you got chickens and you got a question, you need to talk to Jeff because Jeff has the answers. Jeff is a very spot on guy for that kind of stuff. I don't think he wanted to be that guy. I think he wanted to be there to just party and hang out and not have to answer a bunch of questions. So I kept it at a minimum. Hey, these are my chickens. These are the breeds I've got, and how long before they start laying eggs? Because I need to know when I need to build the breed box, the laying boxes. And I was like, all right, well, I left him alone after that. And it turned out to be other people were going over and doing the same thing, asking questions. And he was just like answering them like, hey, I don't care, I'll answer any question you got. And I felt bad for him because I'm pretty sure he didn't want to be that guy. He's the chicken whisperer, so he is that guy. But he didn't want to be. He just wanted to be there to party and hang out. And that's pretty much what we all were looking for when we went to this. But for me, that was a very, very long drive. Our first stop when we left our house in here in central New York, it was 11 and a half hours to get to where we were going in Illinois, which is just outside of the main part of Chicago. I mean, everybody carries a gun there. Don't never think they don't. Everybody carries a gun there. They have to. They have to protect themselves from the gangs and stuff. And then we went from there to Missouri to my girlfriend's other sister. We went to her first sister's house, and then we went to her other sister's house. And that was in Missouri, and that was like a 6-hour drive from Illinois. And then from Illinois, or from Missouri, down to where we had our rented cabin in Oklahoma, I think that was like a 5.5 to almost 6-hour drive again. So it was a very long drive. And on the way back, I told my girlfriend, I am not driving 11 and a half hours from Chicago, Illinois, back to central New York. It's just not going to happen. So we went to Sandusky, Ohio. I'll tell you, we couldn't have picked a better weekend. They had the biggest store for Harley Davidson in the area. And if you could drive a bike in their parking lot, you could take it on the road. No matter what model of brand new Harley you wanted to ride, they'd let you ride it. So it was like really, really cool. So anyway, we're at the end of this one. I hope you guys all had a halfway decent time or a good time, learned something maybe. But we're going to do this again next week. We'll find a different topic because you don't need to hear about all my print shop and seed business, whatnot going on. But we'll find some other topic to talk about, and I'll catch you guys all next week. I think our time is done run out. And now it's time to go over to 9 Acre Family Farm to visit with Dale, because this is where the games begin. Talk to y'all next time. Have a good night.